It's Tuesday, it's first pitch. I'm the Prez, Lawrence Presman, co-founder of WagerTalk.com. The man saluting, Drew Martin from SportsMemo.com, and of course the legend himself, my daily co-host, Dave Cokin. Dave, how are you, my brother?
Good. Nice win last night with the Phillies, and looking forward to some big action tonight. I've got a 5% play and also a free play, which we'll talk about during the program this morning.
And Drew, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good as well. Prez off of a winner and got a 5% myself up at sportsmemo.com, along with $2 Tuesday from Nick Borman. MLS, he's killing it. So check out SportsMemo. A lot of big plays up today.
Listeners, as you heard, Nick Borman killing it over at sportsmemo.com. It's $2 Tuesdays at both WagerTalk and SportsMemo, and what that means is we single out a handicapper, usually the hottest at that time, and make his play the $2 Tuesday play. And Dave Cokin, you are up tonight at WagerTalk.com. You have won 7 of your last 9 baseball selections. You're absolutely rolling. And what we've had about 1,100 baseball plays to date. You've only had 4 5% plays. Your 5th goes tonight. It's regularly $30. It's only $2 at WagerTalk.com. So please, guys, absolutely check that out at WagerTalk.com. Dave Cokin's 5%, very rare play, only $2 as well. We've been talking a lot about Buster Sports' Canadian football. He's got a 5% Canadian football play up for this weekend. His first 5% play of the season. And lifetime at WagerTalk, he's only had 12 5% Canadian football releases, and he's 9-2-1 in those. The price is regularly $30. You can get it at WagerTalk.com for $10. Use the promo code CFL10, and trust me, it is an absolute must-play bet, as well as don't forget Dave and his rare 5-star tonight. Guys, let's get straight into it. Lots of games on the board. Cleveland against Kansas City. Cleveland with a nice win last night, 3-2. Pitchers duel, if you will, even though both pitchers were out of the game before the 5th inning started. Keller made it. What?
That was because of a long rain delay.
There you go. What doesn't Dave know? Kansas City plus 200 all the way to 220 at some books. The over and under is 9.5.
Way past that. It's up to 240 and 250 now.
Okay, we got
to get you outfitted with a line service that actually provides current line.
I'm going to work on that today. Cleveland's won 4 in a row, 6 of their last 7, 8 of their last 10. They're really rolling right now. Bieber versus Sparkman. Dave, let's go to you first. What do you like in this game?
Well, I wouldn't take the Royals if it was $3. Sparkman's been awful on the road, really bad. His home road splits are dramatic. He has pitched well at Kauffman Stadium, but when he goes on the road, he just gets shelled. ERA is almost 8, and sabermetric numbers are in that range. Bieber's been much more consistent. Guys get good numbers. I'm not convinced on him long term. I think he needs a third pitch that's a little better than what he's got. But you can't argue with the results. He's been dynamite for the Indians, and Cleveland should walk away with this game.
Drew, what do you think in this game? You like the total, the side? Where are you going?
I mean, sidewise, I like Cleveland. It's just, I kind of got priced out of it here, up over minus $2. In total wise, I agree with what Dave said about Sparkman. I would look for a team total on Cleveland, look towards the over. And if you made me bet a game total, I would be on the over of 9.5.
He's Drew Martin, Dave Cokin with us. You're watching First Pitch. You can hear us every single day, Monday to Friday at WagerTalk TV on YouTube. And don't forget, guys, Dave Cokin's 5% rare, 5th one of the season, 5% baseball play up at WagerTalk.com, only $2. Dave, Boston versus the Chicago White Sox. Beautiful game last night, 6-5 win by Boston. And here they are again, closing in on 300, minus 270. There's a minus 290 on the board at 2-2 bet, but I don't know anyone who has an out there.
260 is the 260 is the primary price.
Their over and under is 10 and a half at a few places. White Sox have lost 3 in a row. Boston has won 1 in a row. Fulmer versus Price. Talk to me.
Carson Fulmer's had several major league trials and has never shown the ability to pitch at this level. So against the Boston offense, that's pretty good. He figures to have a tough night. David Price, pretty reliable, particularly at home. His numbers at home really are excellent. It's a game the Red Sox should win convincingly.
Drew, I like the over in this game at 10. You look at the White Sox of late, and they're really hitting the ball well. Last few games, 5-4, 5-5, 3-3, 3-4, 10-5. And Boston is hitting the ball well also, a 6-1, 7-7-9 in their last 5 games. You know, I know Price has been playing well at home, but he's inconsistent, and I think the White Sox can get to him. I like the over. Where are you going?
I agree with you, Prez. I mean, here sidewise, it's another game we get kind of priced out if you like the Red Sox. But I'm with you. And Carson Fulmer, like Dave said, I just don't think he's necessarily a major league pitcher at this point. He's just kind of filling a roster spot here. And as long as the White Sox can put up some numbers, and like you touched on, last night's game was an exciting game, a good game to watch. They were able to do it last night. I think they can put up some numbers here as well. And we know Boston's going to get theirs tonight. So seeing a total, if you can find it, 9.5, but it's mostly 10s. I like the over as well.
Dave, Texas Rangers, 6.5 back on Houston, largely because of Houston's slump right now. They're playing Detroit. 72% of the tickets are being written on Texas tonight. They just won 3-0, and they find themselves a minus 150, give or take, favorite on the road with the over and under at 10. They've won 3 of their last 4 games. Detroit's an utter disaster. They've lost 4 in a row. They've lost 8 of 9, and we've got Chavez versus Zimmerman on the mound. And Dave, Zimmerman's just been a disaster straight through the entire season. All 34.1 innings pitched, and he's done badly in his last 3 outs as well. I think at minus 145, 150, I like Texas here, and I also like Texas on the run line.
I'd be on the other side. I think this price is too high for a bullpen night for the Rangers. It's not like this is a great bullpen. They're going to use 4 or 5 guys to complete 9 innings. Not that Zimmerman's really good. He's not. I'm not going to make a case for him, but this is overpriced, in my opinion. Open 130, now 144, 145. And I think there's some value now on the Detroit side. Not enough to take a strong stance, but the Tigers can be respectable at home. And I don't mind bullpen games, but I like them better when they're underdogs. I don't like them as big chalk, and I would classify this as somewhat big chalk. So I would lean Detroit at the price.
Drew, any thoughts on this game?
I'd actually lean Texas here. Bullpen game going against Zimmerman. Jordan Zimmerman, I don't think he's a major league pitcher at this point in his career. Plus the fact, Detroit last 2 weeks, weighted runs created number under 70, by far the worst in Major League Baseball. This lineup is not very good right now. I like Texas as a side.
Guys, I'm a little bit out of it today for some reason. I actually skipped a few games, so let's go backwards. My apologies. Philadelphia Phillies, New York Mets. Philadelphia only 2 games above 500. Philly 5 games below 500. Dave, bottom line this game for me.
Well, yeah, the Phillies needed that win last night, and they really broke out offensively. So that's a big plus for them. The Mets are kind of a mess right now. Now we get news that the front office is dictating moves in game. I don't know if that's true or not.
Boy.
But it sounds like something that they are saying to at least take the heat off Callaway for his continued ridiculous decisions. He left Matz in too long last night. The guy clearly didn't have it. The problem here is that Arrieta's just been too unreliable to lay a big price with. And, $1.50 range is a pretty good-sized price. I don't have any regard for Lockett whatsoever. He's a weak pitcher. And the Phillies should have another good offensive game, but the Mets might have one as well against Arrieta. Look, I mean, the name is there, but if you just put a piece of paper over the name so you can't see it and look at the numbers, you're looking at a back-end starter. And back-end starters are not good bets laying $1.50 as a rule.
Drew, I'm with Dave on this. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but I really struggle to take a 10.5 here. So I'm actually going to lay off. I like the Phillies a little bit. I think both teams are a mess right now. Phillies have lost 7 of 8. I'm not putting any of my money on this game.
Yeah, Prez, I wouldn't make it. I wouldn't talk you off of that philosophy in this. I mean, when you start talking about the Phillies, it's kind of a tough read here because they were in free fall, and then like Dave said, they put up over 10 runs last night, looked good, but that might have been as much against Steven Matz. Steven Matz has given up more than 5 runs in each of his last 3 starts, so not sure how much credit to give Philadelphia. Plus the fact the Mets lineup overall has been getting healthier, hitting the ball well. I look towards the over, but like you said, outside of Colorado in the National League, laying 10.5, I don't know if that's a positive EV bet long term. So I haven't touched this game either.
Yeah, and I said exactly that yesterday. I mean, how do you take an over 10.5, 11 in the National League if it ain't in Colorado?
Well, in Philadelphia, when it's hot and the ball's carrying, that's a little bandbox, and you can score a ton of runs there. We saw that last night. Ball was really carrying, and no reason to think it won't again tonight.
Dave Cokin with us, Drew Martin. Guys, make sure to head over to sportsmemo.com, $2 Tuesdays. As well, Dave Cokin is the $2 Tuesday featured handicapper at WagerTalk.com. And also Buster Sports, first 5% play of the year in Canadian football. It's only $10 to you guys only. I use the promo code CFL10. Miami against Washington. And Washington, well, not exactly fully back in the race. 8 games behind Atlanta, but they are making moves in the wild card chase. Very surprising. This team a month ago was a disaster. They're only 3 games below 500 right now, and they're playing really good ball. They're the away team tonight, anywhere, give or take around minus 250. We have a very small total at 7. And you've got Scherzer versus Ricard, or as you will say, Richards, on the mound. Matt Scherzer, what a season right now. I can't take an away team at minus 260 in this spot. But I would lean on the run line for Washington. I just think we're going to get a hell of an effort out of Max Scherzer. Dave?
I think I might look at the under. It opened 7.5. It's now 7. But Scherzer's pitching great baseball. Absolutely great baseball for the Nationals. And the thing on the Marlins is they never score for Trevor Richards anyway. Richards has been good. I mean, look at his numbers. Now, his analytics at home are not good, but he's pitching pretty well. He's got a great changeup, and when he's able to locate his fastball, it makes that changeup a pretty good pitch. I don't think there's going to be many runs scored here. I think Washington scores the runs that are scored, so we'd look at Nationals in under. Not strong on either one, but, you don't have to be strong in every game.
I had my doorbell ring. I had to go get it because my dog was barking like crazy, but I did hear everything you said. And, I'm not with you on the under here, Dave. I can't bet the over because of the pitchers, but both of these teams are hitting the ball, and 7 is super low. I think this is an outright layoff for me on the total. Drew?
I think Scherzer comes out. There's no reason to not see him go 7-8 innings, giving up, 0, 1, 2, something like that. And Richards, like Dave touched on, changing speeds very well. I think he's a great pitcher. The Marlins starting rotation.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
It's amazing what they're able to do. And keep in mind what they're 20-15, their last 35. They were the worst team in baseball. So they're kind of turning it around there. But I actually would look towards the under. I'd much rather have a 7.5 than a 7. That's why it's tough to recommend betting under 7. But still, if you can find a 7.5 at some point during the day, I would look towards the under.
You're not going to find a 7.5.
Okay.
It's going to. I think it might drop to 2.5. Just kidding.
No, it's going to sit at 7.
Yeah.
And the over is slightly juiced right now, but I saw a move just the last few minutes now where the under is actually slightly juiced at one pretty sharp store. So it's not going to 7.5.
Let's get to the next game, Atlanta versus the Cubs. Last night it went under the total, but it went under on a line move. The under and over closed at 12. It was 8-3. Atlanta lost the game. Here we go again, another 12. I don't know if I can keep blindly betting these Atlanta overs. I've been doing it all year, and I'm 44-32. But now we've got 12s on the board, and that is just utterly massive. We've got Fried versus Alzolay on the mound. I'm sure I pronounced that incorrect. I don't know where to go in this game. I don't have an opinion on the side or the total, Dave.
Well, Alzolay is a really good prospect for the Cubs. He's rated as the first or second best pitching prospect in the organization. I personally have him as the number 1 prospect in the organization. He's got a good fastball, mid to high 90s. He'll touch 98. Very good curveball. His changeup is a work in progress. If that pitch emerges, this could be a future ace for the Cubs. He's got that kind of talent. He's had one relief appearance, which was pretty good. 4 innings against the Mets, gave up 1 run. Somebody hit one out of the park on him. But outside of that, was very effective. Really good numbers at Iowa this year. Max Fried has had a good season for the Braves. There's not much to knock on Fried. One thing that is interesting here, the wind is blowing out. That's why the total's so high. Now, Alzolay is more of a fly ball pitcher than Fried, but if you look at home run fly ball ratios for Alzolay, and granted these are in the minors, but they've been very low, so his fly balls aren't hard contact as a rule, whereas Fried, even though he doesn't give up a lot of fly balls, he's more of a ground ball pitcher. His home run to fly ball ratio is about 20%. So when the opposition gets the ball in the air, it goes out a little bit. And that could contribute to maybe helping out the Cubs tonight. We'll have to wait and see.
Drew, any thoughts on this game?
I thought that was an interesting handicap there by Dave, and a lot to those numbers. I would look at it, Fried last time out versus the Cubs, 6 innings pitched, 0 earned runs. He has, not looked as good as he has in recent form as he did in the beginning of the season. Also, Alzolay, like Dave was saying, the 24-year-old rookie. Interesting to see, 24, just getting to the majors now, and the number 1 prospect. Not sure if there's something there, but, and we saw it last night or yesterday's game as far as the total inching up to 12, it landing, at 11. You got to remember to bet numbers, not just philosophies here. So don't just kind of blindly bet the overs. But I guess a long way of saying I think the total has priced out of it, and I'm going to lay off.
Yeah, and I agree, and I said that at the beginning of this segment. And I have been blindly betting the overs in Atlanta all year, but it looks like I have to stop. I can't play the 12 even with the wind. Going backwards again because I'm an idiot today. Baltimore against San Diego. San Diego on the road. Minus, geez, Dave, there's 190s, 200s. The over and under is 10.5. And, the bottom line for me is, obviously Baltimore is the worst team in baseball. San Diego just got swept by Pittsburgh. And although I think San Diego is a better team in all facets, I can't lay minus 200 with them. They just haven't earned that right yet. If anything, I think Baltimore is a live dog tonight.
No, I don't. They're terrible. The Orioles are basically a no-play period. They've lost 14 series in a row. They're by far the worst team in baseball. I mean, they're not that far ahead of Detroit and Toronto and Kansas City, but they're a lot worse. Yacobonis means it's a bullpen game for the Orioles, and their bullpen is horrendous. Logan Allen is a good-looking lefty for the Padres. Lefties, the first time around, can be really tough. I like this kid a lot. He's got a bulldog mentality. I mean, he's a tough pitcher. He's going to be a star for the Padres. I don't have a problem at all at the price. I think this should be more than $2. So to me, this, even though it's gone up 20 cents from where it opened at 165, I still think there's a little value on the Padres side.
Drew, any thoughts on this game? Oh, yeah, Dave?
Manny Machado going back to Baltimore for the first time. Be interesting to see what kind of reception he gets.
Yeah, a little extra motivation possibly. And the market agreeing with you, Dave, like you touched on, it's flirting with $2 now. It's just tough for me, like you touched on, Prez, to lay $2 with the Padres. They're not necessarily, a top echelon team, in my opinion, on the opposite coast, East Coast. I'm just staying away.
Dave, Milwaukee hosting Seattle tonight. Milwaukee is 24-15 at home. About 77% of the tickets are being written on Milwaukee. Somewhere around a minus 185. We got another high total in the National League at 10.5. Gonzalez versus Zach Davies. Both pitchers, consistently okay. I mean, Gonzalez medium, but really good last three outings. And Davies, better than Gonzalez on the year, but a real bad last three outings. I actually like the over slightly in this game, but I'm going to stay away.
The thing on Davies is he's not better than Gonzalez, and he hasn't been. He really hasn't been at all. Davies is a guy we've talked about, where his analytics indicate that he was getting extremely fortunate, and the regression has now started. This is a guy with mediocre stuff, and he is really getting clobbered now. And you look at the xFIP, almost 6 at home. His FIP is 5.5 at home. Those are bad numbers. Marco Gonzalez seems to have found his early season form for the Mariners. He started off really well, went bad, has gotten his command back. I don't know about making a case for the Mariners' full game because the bullpen edge is clearly with Milwaukee here. Hader's available for 2 innings if they need him, and they've just got much better arms out there. But I think you can make a case for the first 5 innings on Seattle here at a nice price. I took plus 150 last night at the one shop that I had where it was available. It's widely available now at mostly plus 145 in that range. I would go Mariners first 5. That's the game I posted at WagerTalk as the free play today, and I think it's worth a bet.
Yeah, well, actually a great call, Dave. And Gonzalez, 6.2 innings last time out against Kansas City. They won 8-2. 7 innings against Oakland. They won 9-2. And you're right. I mean, Zach Davies, especially in the last little while, he didn't even make it through 2 innings, 3 innings last game against San Diego, who is not exactly a world-class hitting team. Drew, what do you like in this game?
Yeah, I don't like full game either. I like everything Dave had to say, plus the fact, with the bullpen advantage for Milwaukee staying away from full game. And Milwaukee has kind of struggled against lefties, so that should be an advantage for Gonzalez as well.
Minnesota hosting Tampa Bay. Interesting game. Dave, we spoke last week a lot about Minnesota and that you think a regression is coming. They went 2-2 against Kansas City. They just lost their last game 6-1. Tampa Bay also, they're in the middle of a regression too. They've lost 5 of their last 7 games and really have not been playing that well. Minnesota is at home tonight. It's basically a pick'em game. The over and under is 9.5. Gibson versus Snell. God, I mean, Snell's numbers have been terrible of late. Gibson's not that much better. I like the over in this game, Dave. And, sidewise, I'm staying away from both of these teams sidewise for the next few days, week or so.
I'm going to have to wait and see what Blake Snell does coming out of that awful performance at Yankee Stadium where he couldn't find the plate. His command was way off. He wasn't throwing his fastball, which I just didn't understand at all, and wondered whether there might be something physical. He was taking a lot of time between pitches. It was just a really bad performance. But we know this guy's a really capable pitcher, so I want to see how he comes out tonight. This is a game I think I'm kind of considering looking at from a live perspective. If Snell looks sharp early, I might get on the Rays here because he can go out and just shut down the opposition. But I've got to see if it's the real Blake Snell or what we saw last time out. Gibson, he's an average pitcher. It's what he is. So he can be on the good or bad side of the curve, generally not dramatically either way. I lean to Tampa. Some concerns about their bullpen right now. They've got a couple of guys dinged up. And so it's just a lean for me at this point on the Rays. But I'm very interested in doing something with this game later.
Drew, Snell 2 starts ago, couldn't make it to the 4th inning and then got so upset with himself he came back the next start and got 1 out. I don't expect much from him tonight. I'm sticking with the over in this game. What do you like?
Yeah, you guys were touching on just his last start. I mean, he only has 3.2 innings pitched in his last 2 starts.
Yeah.
8 walks as well. That's very alarming. I think there's something there. Over a 5 ERA in his 8 road starts this season. So, the Cy Young year of Blake Snell is far in the past. Plus the fact scheduling spot for the Rays, it's awful. I would not look to bet the Rays in the next week or so. They went from Tampa to New York, out to Oakland, now in Minnesota. So you talk about spot play. It's for Minnesota, and Minnesota hits lefties very well. 128 weighted runs created number. No way I'm looking towards the Rays tonight.
He's Drew. I got Dave Cokin with us. I'm the Prez. It's First Pitch. Guys, make sure to check out WagerTalk and Sports Memo. Always check us out on Tuesdays. It's $2 Tuesdays. For $2, you get Dave Cokin's 5% play. It's the strongest play he's had in a while. It comes with analysis. It's going to win. And also, Drew, it's Nick Borman over at Sports Memo tonight, right?
It is. He has a 5%er up. He's been great in MLS. Very good. So his play's $2 Tuesday. And also, I got a 5% up on today's card as well.
Okay, well, make it $10. Drew 10. Get it done.
Drew 10. It will be up and available by the time we put the show up.
Okay, there you go, guys. Drew 10 over at Sports Memo. His play is regularly $30. It's yours for $10. And don't forget, Buster Sports' Canadian football. I'm going to be talking about it every single week. This guy's gold. Gold. Drew, the dude is 63% lifetime in Canadian football. He's 4-0 on the season. It's gold.
I love that. I mean, the CFL, I really believe it's a beatable market.
It is.
You see the moves in the line. It reminds me of college basketball totals in November and December. It's a very loose market, in my opinion.
Dave, you know Randall the Handle?
I know who he is.
Yeah, so he actually does most of the Canadian Football League lines that the books use. Right down the road from me, very good friend of mine. And yeah, Drew, I'm with you. I think it's probably that and the WNBA are probably the 2 most beatable sports going right now. Boys, Houston, they won a game. Does this mean we're going to see the start of a run for them? They're playing Pittsburgh tonight, and Pittsburgh's on a run themselves. They've won 4 in a row. They just beat San Diego a couple of days ago, 11-10. What an exciting game. Houston is -3. Man, it's all over the map, Dave.
275, 280.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's all over the map. 8.5s and 9s on the board for the over and under. Here's the bottom line for me. Houston's obviously a better team all around. Cole is pitching great. He's pitching against Williams tonight. But here's a team that has just lost 7 of their last 8 games, and they're close to -300. I'm going to wait and see what Houston does over the next few days before I jump back in. Dave?
Astros should win this easily. Garrett Cole, nothing much needs to be said about him. Trevor Williams was terrible in his first start off the injured list, so I'll have to wait and see what happens there. And the Astros are liable to get hot now because they got their slump out of the way, and this is a really good team. They're not going to stay down for long.
Yeah, they're only 6.5 games up, so they need to start putting some more distance. Drew, what do you think?
I mean, looking at it, it looks pricey, but I think it's pricey for a reason. It did price me out of it, but I do think Houston wins handily.
Oakland Athletics against St. Louis. St. Louis 3 games above 500. Oakland 3 games above 500. Yet both teams are down units on the season for their bettors. 63% of the tickets written on the Cardinals tonight. They're the home team. They're minus around 150. The over and under in this game is 9. Oakland's won 5 of 7. St. Louis 2 of 3. Not really on a run by any stretch. Bassett versus Flaherty. I like the over in this game, Dave. I think it's pretty low. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes up to 9.5. I think we're going to get a lot of scores.
No, it's going in the other direction. It's not going to go to 9.5. 9 unders now juiced at minus 20. I would lean that way, but the under, because Bassett's been pretty good for Oakland and Flaherty's very good at home for St. Louis. The concern, though, is the back end of the game, because Trinan is under the injured list for Oakland. He's their closer. That messes up their bullpen. And Jordan Hicks looks like he's headed for Tommy John surgery for the Cardinals. So I don't know how they're going to arrange their bullpen now, because that just happened. And that would be – this is one of those games that could play under for a while, and then you could get an explosion of scoring late. We've seen a lot of those games this year that have looked like nuts unders, and then all of a sudden they go over at the end. And this game could fall into that category.
Yeah, and we talked about one of the games yesterday, that LA Angels game.
Yep.
8 runs scored in the 9th. And we are seeing a lot of that, Dave. I mean, all around the league, we're just seeing bullpen struggle outright all the time. That's why we talk a lot about these 5-inning bets.
Yeah, they're really important. In the fact that Oakland's closers out, that could work into this very largely. Flaherty, he's a guy I'm looking to bet on. 4 of his last 5 starts, he either has 7 or 8 strikeouts, not walking a lot of guys, even though he has given up, 2, 3, 4 runs per appearance. I still have him circled as a bet on pitcher, Prez. But the fact that Oakland, I think 5 of their last 7 games, they're kind of hot right now, even though they are on the road. I think there's bet on for both teams. If you made me bet it, I would probably take the plus price with Oakland, but I'm going to lay off because I do like Flaherty when he's on the hill.
Arizona against the Dodgers. Dodgers, best team in baseball record-wise. And just really hot all the time. They've won 6 of their last 7 games. They did lose last night to Arizona 8-5. And now they bounce back. And we've got ourselves a pick'em game here, Dave, with the over and under at 9.5. It's Stripling versus Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray's had a really consistent season, if you will, but nothing unbelievable. I'm thinking you're not going to see the Dodgers around the pick-a mark very often. Tell me why I shouldn't be betting them tonight.
No, mainly because I don't know what the Dodgers are going to do in the pitching department here. Stripling will start, and then Urias is going to come in, and I don't know when he's going to come in. And it is a righty-lefty type of deal, so that could be good against the Diamondbacks. Ray's been good at home, though. He's been really solid at home. These numbers are attractive. 3.66 is the ERA, but then you look at the metrics that accompany that, and they're even better than that. So he's an above-average pitcher at home. Diamondbacks get a little momentum with a nice win last night, and the Dodgers aren't going to win them all. But that said, I think the price is low here. I don't see Arizona offering any value at the price. So I made it a little higher. I made it about $1.30. So I would say a little value on the Dodgers here.
Drew, Dave, and I agree. What do you like in this game?
Yeah, I like the Dodgers as well. And Robbie Ray, I mean, he has been pretty decent at home, but he hasn't pitched much at home recently. And this Dodgers lineup, I mean, at minus 111, I'm kind of surprised by this. This is eye-opening. I like the Dodgers tonight.
Colorado playing San Francisco. 58% of the tickets are written on the Giants tonight. They're the home team. They're minus around 160, 65. The over and under here is 8. Colorado's lost 3 of their last 4. The Giants have lost their last 2 games, including a 2-0 pitchers duel against Colorado. Chi versus Madison tonight. Madison did not have a good outing last time up. Couldn't make it to the 4th inning. And then the time before, 6 innings, but a high-scoring game. You know, I like the under in this game, Dave. 8 points. I think we're going to get a really good effort by Bumgarner.
That wouldn't surprise me. I think Bumgarner might be pretty serious tonight. After he got embarrassed in his last game, that was just a terrible start for him against the Dodgers. Chichi Gonzalez hasn't been in the majors for some time, and I don't know why he is now. Colorado's basically out of pitchers at the back of the rotation, so they had to dig down to the minors and bring up Gonzalez, who I think he was in the majors last in like 2016, and he's never shown that he can pitch at this level. His stuff is really pedestrian. I actually think the Giants are cheap here. This is a game the Giants should win.
Drew?
I kind of like Colorado sidewise, but even more so, I like the over here. Like Dave said, Chichi, very, very iffy pitcher. And Madison Bumgarner at this stage of his career, I know a lot of people like to back him. It's a sexy name, but still, I think Colorado put some crooked numbers up. So seeing it at 8, I like the over.
Cincinnati and the Angels, last game on the docket for today. Guys, make sure to check back tomorrow. Dave Cokin and Dwayne Bryant tomorrow. We're mixing it up. We had Dr. Chuck yesterday. Dwayne Bryant tomorrow. Cincinnati against the Angels. Dave, just take us home.
Here's the bad news for Tyler Mahle. I mean, he hasn't pitched bad ball. But they just never win on the road when he pitches. 0-9 this year for the Reds in his road starts. 0-11 going back to last season. The flip side of that is I don't trust Andrew Heaney, who if you watch him pitch, and I know I've said this before, so it's repetitive to some people, but if you watch him pitch, you'll see 3 innings where he absolutely dominates, and he looks like a guy who's a number 1 starter. And then all at once he'll blow up and give up 4 runs. He's just not been able to figure out how to avoid the bad inning. And that makes him a guy that I have trouble playing on. So I can't hear. I think it's maybe – actually, I think it's about the right price. I made it 135. It's 140, 142. So there's no value either way as far as my projections are concerned. And I can't back Mahle with those. It's not his fault, mind you. He hasn't pitched that badly. But the fact is 0-9 and 0-11 going back 2 years, going back to last season in his road starts, you can't – that's just not a guy I can bet on. So it's a long way of saying I have nothing in this game.
Dave, Drew, I do want to ask you one question. We were talking last week, Cincinnati was playing to the under. I think they were on a 15-1 run to the under. They're 27-47 to the under this year. And, one of the things we were talking about a lot is this team has a rock-solid batting lineup. We did not expect them to play to the under as often as they have. They've gone over the total 3 games in a row, 7-5, 6-5, and 11-7, all against Milwaukee. Are we seeing a buy on the over in Cincinnati? Because what?
Not necessarily.
They have a good bullpen.
The Brewers didn't pitch well. That ballpark, when the roof's open, the ball just flies out of Milwaukee. I don't. They're hitting a little bit, so I guess you can make a case for that. But now they're going out to Anaheim, which plays a lot differently than Milwaukee, and runs are tougher to score at night in that ballpark.
Drew, what do you think about this game?
I mean, to speak about the Reds and their undertrend, their bullpen, almost a 17% strikeout to walk ratio. So I like that, plus 3.38 ERA from the relievers. So that speaks a lot to their unders. Their bullpen is very good. But in this game, Cincinnati kind of struggles against lefties a little bit, just an 86 weighted runs created plus number. That's quite a bit below average in MLB. And the Angels hitting at home. We've talked about it before, their discrepancy in team OPS batting at home. They see the ball better. We've also talked about it, Trout and company in that lineup. I think is very underrated. So under minus 140 here, we can get it, some minus 138s out there. I actually look towards the Angels.
He's Drew. I'm the Prez. Dave Cokin with us. Let's end it, boys, just to wrap up. Dave Cokin's our $2 Tuesday over at Sports Memo, 5% over at WagerTalk. I'm out of it today. 5% play. Nick Borman, soccer play, $2 over at Sports Memo. Drew's got a very rare 5% play up at sportsmemo.com. It's only $10 to our listeners. Promo code Drew10. And Buster Sports with his 5% CFL play. Regular $30, only $10 to our listeners as well. Over at wagertalk.com, CFL10. Drew, we'll see you next week. We'll also talk on the phone in a few. Dave, we'll see you tomorrow. Guys, great show. Thanks, everybody. And listeners, keep commenting. We're reading them.
Best of luck, boys.
Good luck tonight.